folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks on Mike Morales here in sunny Southern California. That guy out there is
Johnston in very cold Youngstown, Ohio.
Hey, Jim, Happy New Year, bro.
Happy New Year. Welcome to an even-numbered year.
Yeah, and
a little bit better than the last even-numbered year.
You know, we're on our 12th variant now, and you know, I've got a permanent sore arm, but you know, whatever it takes, folks. We're gonna just try to carry on safely as possible. Tonight, Jim and I have the really distinction of dissecting a brand new tequila online in the market. It's called Carrera, and I thought this was named after the Carrera means race, as in horse race, car race, boat race.
The story goes that the couple of the Camarena brothers used to race at the stables on the family ranch, and that is the story behind the name.
Well, this says it's since 1938. I believe that I'm not sure which branch of the Camarena family this is. You found the name. His name is what? Eduardo?
Eduardo is the CEO of this particular label, this brand. That is all that I know as far as. But it does say, you know, 5th-generation tequila producers. It is a branch of the Camarena family.
Camarena family, which we know as Tapatio, El Tesoro de Don Felipe, which, if I'm not mistaken, La Alteña was actually founded in 1937, I believe. So this is a year later. And so it must be that branch of the Camarena family. I believe there's another branch also that has Camarena Tequila that is now owned by Gallo. That is a whole separate branch of the family. For those of you who are familiar with the area, the Arandas area, the Camarena family is one of the first settlers of that area. So it figures that they would be kind of all spread out. And this one came to my attention on Instagram, and they made this happen. I'm really jazzed because it's a small distillery. Let me give you some really background information. We don't normally try to do this too quickly, but the distillery is 1465. It is Fábrica de Tequila El Eden, which is Eden. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tequilas coming out of there. And the only one that I have ever heard and have had is Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo comes out of there. Frida Kahlo is not a bad tequila. It's actually quite good. So Jim and I are going to dissect and taste this one. If you've been to Jim's house recently, you may have already had this tequila.
Yeah, unfortunately, now that everybody got their shots, the friends are coming back in and raiding the bar. So I have not, but some people have tapped into a couple of these.
The cool part is this is the twist top, folks. So it looks like a cork, but it's not. It's a twist top. Very elegant. I mean, it's a substantial bottle. I want to go now.
Very nice bottle. I like the artwork on it. I like it. It's kind of an old school meets more a little bit slightly modern design, but it's a nice looking bottle.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say Brand of Promise nominee in the packaging. It's just very cool.
I agree.
Yeah. Hello. I'm going to use a Stasso Jarrito. It's kind of a stylized Jarrito that was given to me by the designer of the Stasso, the Jarrito, who passed away. He was very generous with his sample models as prototypes, and I have one that I rarely ever use on camera because it's kind of a stylized version of the Jarrito.
Oh yeah.
And
yours has a nice little lip on it.
Yeah, it's very thin glass. Also, it feels like it's very fragile, but it holds up really well. I've washed it and used it several times, but I rarely use it on camera. But I had to dig these out because I'm running short on glassware today, just today. Beautiful lakes and tears though, and it's gorgeous color on this one.
Really is nice. It's nice and clear. Um, fairly substantial body for a Blanco. I mean, kind of. I'm not going to call it syrupy, but it's definitely a little bit thicker than some that we've had. And
Oh yeah.
the nose right out of the bottle when I opened it was very nice, and it was just a quick whiff. But
Yeah, it looks like it's going to have some really good structure and body and the mouthfeel, you know,
yeah,
because it's just gorgeous. Legs and tears streaming like Netflix. I love it. It's just, yeah.
it's a new one.
Well, I've used it on several other by the time you
One for
folks
me.
have seen it, yeah, it's just new on you. Oh, it's just bright agave.
That is a floral citrus.
Yep.
Very, very nice orange blossom agave.
Yep. That's exactly right. They're very transparent. They sent us some really nice PDF information on their process, and we'll get to that in a second. This is a lovely nose. It's just
It really is. A little bit of alcohol, but just enough to make it to kind of carry that zest, that citrus zest with it. Almost like it's almost like citrus oil more so than alcohol, but it's just enough to kind of make it a little bit more aromatic.
And the funny thing was that, like Jim, at the first whiff, you get more plant. Once I poured it, the brightness of the orange, you know, the citrus started to come through. It's a gorgeous nose. It's very pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah. I always describe the nose that you know, the ones you can make a candle out of are the ones that have a really nice, just pleasant, nothing too overwhelming about it.
I say we dive in. This is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Oh.
Wow. That's very full the whole way through. You're absolutely right about the mouthfeel. It's got some pepper on it. It's got some citrus zest, a little more lime zest, and the nose is orange, but flavor's got a little lime zest on it, and little too much pepper for me at the one point there.
Yeah, it's got a nice, strong, long finish. This is flavorful all the way to the rear of the palate and down. It's just packed.
Yeah, and this is we get a lot of anise flavor on a lot of these. This anise is kind of almost like a sweet anise, almost like a sambuca style anise, but it's very light at the end for me. And I think I like the fact that the citrus and the spice up front kind of blends into that sweet anise at the back, and there's a big load of alcohol on the mouthfeel. I mean, there's mouthfeel and there's alcohol on the palate here, but it kind of carries all of that. It kind of carries all of that back so that you get that spice kind of jumps out a little bit, and then it finishes with that little light sweet anise all the way down.
Yeah, this you described it perfectly. I mean, that's exactly what I got. And I had to. I actually had to, prior to coming online, I had to cleanse my palate because I had done another tasting prior to Jim's, to this one here, and we had mezcal. It was so flavorful that I had to get the mezcal. You know how good mezcal just kind of coats your palate after 2 or 3 passes. I had to get that off the palate. So I was hoping that I would have enough cleanse time to do this one, and I'm glad I did, because this was a full body. This one's got
Yeah,
every,
this is a no joke Blanco. It's not a, you know, honestly, I mean, it's got some power in the middle of my palate that kind of makes that spice and the pepper kind of explode a little bit, but it's very fleeting, and then it's got that long, slightly sweet finish that really is nice. Sometimes
yeah,
you get a little muted pepper, little sweetness maybe on the end, or sweetness on the front. This is agave and lime zest, sweet pepper, and then a sweet finish. But I think that makes the finish nicer, is that you've got that big mouthful of a real bold Blanco that really does coat my palate and goes down nicely.
yeah. This is gorgeous. If I know anything about the Camarenas, is that they're agave growers, and I would imagine that this particular brand and this distillery grows their own agave as well. Um, in each one of these, every offshoot except for maybe the one that's owned by Gallo, um, really does a great job with their tequilas. They have their own style. They have, everybody knows about G4 and Terralta, and we all know about Tapatio and El Tesoro, and of course Ocho now, but that Ocho's at another distillery. But this one here, you can just tell they take care of the plants. They're mature. The plants carry, the characteristics that they need to carry in order for the end result to be like this. Wow.
And honestly, we've had a lot of Arandas juice, and this you always get a little, if it's done well, you always get a little bit of terroir on it, a little bit of that characteristic of where that agave is grown, and it's definitely here, because that lime zest on my palate is not actual sweetness or actual citrus flavor. It's that agave and some of the acidity of the soil it's giving it, that I think, and I've had that before in some Aranda's tequila, but it plays out really nicely in this. And this is a sipping Blanco, but I bet you could probably mix this pretty well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anything from of course, from a Paloma to ranch water. You could just put. I
I
would.
think this would stand out against the mixers a little bit, so that you get some flavor out of it, actually.
Yeah. Well, it's bold. I mean, the characteristics. Let's give you the ins and outs again. I gave you the distillery. They were very transparent. They have a beautiful cell sheet with all its the ideal fermentation for its great taste. It is fermented in stainless steel. It looks like it's open air. The fermentation process uses high quality natural yeast to maintain the authentic flavor of the agave as it remains as its main finishes. Double distilled, it says copper pot. I'm looking at stainless steel. The picture says stainless steel. They say copper pot. But thanks to the double distillation in copper coil stills, so the copper is inside the stainless steel pots. Yep. So it's not copper pot. Yep. And they have their own barreling room. We'll get to the aged tequila here shortly, because they have a full boat of Repo and Añejo is what we got. But I'm impressed as hell, man.
I am too.
Brick oven, stone brick oven, roller
right.
mill.
That I noticed that too, and I kind of figured a Camarena made tequila was not going to be shortchanged, but
yeah. Again, the only one that I have a question about and that I know about is the Camarena tequila, which is a cousin. And
I don't think they have much control. Yeah, it's a black sheep.
Yeah, that's owned by Gallo now. That's all Gallo. Right. They look what they did with Jug Wine. It says here.
This is a really nice, vibrant Blanco.
Yes, but it kind of, it's balanced. I'm not even going to say it's super vibrant, because there's some depth to the mouthfeel and the way you describe the whole journey from intake to swallowing. it just you have there. It has to be substantial. You know,
Yeah.
this is a substantial Blanco in order to carry that through to the end, to the finish.
We've had Blancos before that I think were maybe a little bit more complex, a lot of different flavors that go through your palate the whole way.
Right.
This mainly has three, but they hit on all the right levels and kind of they start well, they end well, and that little pop in the middle of that spice and that minerality is it kind of ties them together. So where there's not all those different notes that we've had in a Blanco before, the ones I think they were going for really do well and they stand out and they blend nicely together. So the balance is there. I like it.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can dance to it. I'll give it a 90, Bob. It says they use deep well water, which again is coming through in a distillation, I'm sure. They let it rest for 15 days in the stainless steel tank, so they let it settle down, which all the Camarenas do that. I know that Felipe and also Carlos, that was the first time I'd ever heard that you know they believe that when it comes out of the still, it's still agitated and it has to settle. I have heard of other brand owners who when they have their tequilas delivered from the border to the warehouse, they let it settle in the warehouse before they send it out and ship it to whoever needs it, because it you know they call it, they say it's a temperamental thing, like it's alive, you know, and the agitation, especially with the Blanco, just they can tell the difference, and they prefer to have it just settle down before they get it to where it needs to go, and then after that it's just, you know, on the shelf. So or in a bar.
Pissed off tequila out into the world. So
yeah, well, some tequila, you know, the intention of the maker makes a lot of difference, and that's where I'm going to be headed when I start when you read the book on the Mozart method. I think the intention of the maker has a lot to do with the end result. We see that in mezcal a lot, where we say the hand of the maker and the region and where it's grown and the altitude, all that, all those variables. But in the end, it's the hand of the maker. And you can tell with this tequila that it really made a difference. Those Camarenas really live up to their name. So anyway, that's our take on the Blanco. Stick with us. We're going to be back with the Reposado and the Añejo. This is Carrera. Check it out, folks. This is going to be your next favorite Saturday night thing right here. And maybe every other night too. Oh, hey, look at the bottom. They got something.
I didn't even notice that.
Hecho en Mexico, and 100% puro de agave on the bottom with the horse in the bottom. I love everything about and look at the maker signature is molded into the bottle.
That's cool. Absolutely brand of promise nominee on the packaging.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'd say absolutely brand promise nominee on the juice too.
Yes, absolutely. So that's our take. If you folks have had Carrera, please tell us on the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, wherever you're listening to us, maybe on Spotify. But whatever you do, hey, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.